Hey everyone, and welcome to Zanu Project Rethink. This is another episode. I'm in the studio with an amazing lady. Her name is Armani Tomlinson. Armani, young Gen Z. Now, this is the first time I'm going to have a Gen Z guest on my show. Very smart and engages. Currently, you would like to hear this. Armani decided to study or be trained in what is called early childhood education. We need so many of them. So Armani, welcome to Zanu Project Rethink.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you told me you've watched some of the episodes, right?
I have.
When did you first, how did you know about Rethink, the Project Rethink podcast?
Well, someone mentioned it to me, a really great friend of mine, and I was like, let me check it out, because she spoke very highly of one of the episodes in particular about white supremacy.
Okay.
And I remember watching it and I was thinking, oh, this guy's out of his mind. There's no way. There's no such thing as white supremacy. And then by the end, I was like, well, see why he calls it Rethink.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Oh, so that's how you came across the podcast, right?
Yes.
Have you subscribed? Okay. All right, you owe me one. Just make sure that your friends and family members subscribe, because, that's what will keep us in business. Yeah, I started this just as the name suggests. In fact, I didn't even pick the name.
Really?
The studio guys here thought, after they've listened to me, discuss and ask me questions, they said, you know what, let's call this platform Project Rethink. And so that's what I try to do. I'm not here pretending to claim anything particular that I know, but I think with the new generation that we have now called Gen Z, the century has turned around. Mm-hmm. We are now living 2 centuries at one place. It has never happened. The last time, 100 years ago, where you find people born in 18 something and people born in 19 something living together, has never happened. Now we have people born in 19 something, people born in 2000 living together, right? So slowly, we the dinosaurs, we are vanishing slowly. Yeah. Soon it will all be people just born in 20 going. Yeah. So I see this generation as a very interesting one, and I want to get to know more. And so when I have people like you come into the show, I'm really very happy. However, we have a bone to crush today.
Yes, we do.
Yes, you called me. You said you wanted to so badly talk about this question of race, right?
Correct.
Okay, give me the background.
Well, for me, just a little bit of background of myself. I am Jamaican. Both on my father and mother's side, there's some mixed race there. My father has Indian in his heritage, and my mom has German in her heritage, which also means for me, I get a lot of Spanish speaking to me most of the time when my hair is not in its natural state or I have it up. And when I tell people, in fact, like, hey, I'm not Dominican, or, I'm just Jamaican or American, they never believe me.
I see.
And then when I have my hair natural, then it's, oh, okay, you're black, you're, Afro, Latina, or whatever. And it got me thinking about biracials, mixed race people, biracial people. I feel like we're living in a time where interracial dating is a lot more accepted and done openly and freely. And we're seeing a lot more biracial people in media, in everyday spaces. And it just got me thinking about, why is it that us as a Black people gravitate so much towards the biracials identifying as Black, but on the other side, they can identify as white or Asian or whatever else they're mixed with. It's just Black.
Yeah, that is what they call the 1/16 rule.
Yes, the 1/16 or the 1-drop rule.
1-drop rule.
It's more known as the 1-drop rule, and we still incorporate it today, even though back then it was created as a social norm to determine who was white or free and who was enslaved.
I see. So your question is, what is my take on that in terms of biracial? Are you asking if I also agree that they're Black?
A little bit, all of the above.
Okay, so until I came to the United States, it has never been a problem at all. You live outside the United States? No, there's no question about that. If you live in Japan and your father is Japanese, your mother is something else, right? Not necessarily black. It can be German, anything. You are called hafu. Okay, so it's spelled H-A-A-F-U because Japanese can say half. They can say half. So hafu is a derivation of half, meaning what they are saying is you are half Japanese, which if you look at it, it's correct.
Right.
So Naomi Osaka is referred to in Japan as hafu. I think she talked about it in one of the interviews. Didn't like it. In Africa, we don't call biracial people black. No, ask anyone to tell you. Nigeria, Ghana, West Africa, we don't call biracial people black. Never. We call them half caste.
Oh, wow.
It is not a slur. Let nobody fool you at all. It's not a slur. Even they refer to themselves also as, oh, I'm a half caste. I went to school with one in Ghana. It's only when I arrived here I began to hear that this one drop rule, and I asked, I think, or maybe it was discussed in African American Studies class, that it was made somewhere in 1612. I'm not completely sure, but I'm just quoting somewhere in Philadelphia or something like that. According to one of the studies or explanations I read, was that the rule was made because white people, because of census, white people want to make sure who is completely white and who is not. I don't believe, and I've never heard it from any academic studies, that it was based on the fact that because your blood is inferior. No, I've not heard that. But I've heard also in discussions that that was why it was made. Do I have any? I don't have any on that. But the first one would make sense to me, that they were doing it based on the census, right? But here is what is interesting to me, though, about this problem. They said it was whites who made the rule that if one drop of black, it should be considered, it's not white.
Right.
They didn't say it's black. When you read the whole text, it says it is not white. They didn't tell anybody who should claim it. They didn't say you should claim it. It will not make sense about if one drop of Japanese blood and white blood. They wouldn't tell the Japanese it's Japanese. They wouldn't say that because Asia, you couldn't tell who is Japanese, Chinese, Koreans, right? Yes. So they didn't say if one drop of black blood, it's black. It's not white. And you took it. Now, what is interesting, if black people, I would have thought that rule should have been made by black people. Somebody asked me why. I said, well, black people claim that white people are demonic, they are oppressive, they are bad people, they buy slaves, they lynch, right? So you would think for such people with all these adjectives, you would say, therefore, if one drop of white into black, let's reject it because we don't want this type of blood in. That would have made sense to me if it was blacks who made the rule. But the white said it's not white. And we said, yes, you're right, it's black.
So why do you think we as a people...
Not as a people, as black people, you mean?
Yeah, as black people. Okay. Why do you think, or maybe I should say black Americans, because you explained in Africa that doesn't exist.
Right.
Why do you think it's such a strong part of our culture to the point where if you said someone like Zendaya, beautiful actress, isn't black, you have black people down your throat? How could you say she's not black? She have a black father.
Yeah, you should ask her.
How did we get to this point?
You should ask Umar Johnson. He's obsessed with white people, as blacks are. We are obsessed with white people, but we lie. That's why we like it. When you look like them, we want to claim it. There's no other explanation. Why? Are we shortage in population or number? You haven't even been able to take care of your kind properly. No, it's because of our obsession with white, which is all cultures. There's something about that white race that people, and Koreans, lighting your skin, and Indians and all that. It's the reason we see some beauty in it, but it's stupid. Because if you buy a gallon of black paint and a gallon of white paint, and you pour the two into a bucket, you don't have white paint anymore, you don't have black paint. You have a new color. You call it that name. That's why we say we have purple state, right? We have red state and blue state. But there are some states where the number is equal and blue. So they're calling it now purple state, undecided or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. Why? Red and blue, when you mix it, it becomes purple.
So then how would you, I guess, argue with people who say, well, it doesn't matter as long as you have some kind of black ancestry.
Then you are black.
You should be able to identify as black.
No, I simply ask people, okay, please point me to where it is biologically proven or is scientifically proven. There is no book I've read that this is proven scientifically, because it's impossible to be proven scientifically, right? Because like I said, if your father is white and your mother is black, you are a half caste. Obama joked during his election that his dog is a mutt, just like me. A mutt means a mulatto.
Right.
Okay? It's not a slur. He's being factual about it. That's why America has lied to its people and to the world that America had an African-American president. It's not true. Obama is not an African-American. I'm not African-American. What I mean is that I come from completely 100% black tribe in Benin. So I'm not only from Benin as a country. No, I'm from a particular tribe. If I go back to my country right now, by my last name at the airport, the immigration officers know exactly which tribe I come from.
Wow.
So I come from that tribe. My mother is from that same tribe. My father is from that same tribe. So I am black, meaning I can trace by my last name, my middle name, my language, which I can speak, to a particular tribe. So I am a Benin American. Mm-hmm. You don't call a Japanese who is an American, oh, he's Asian American. You say he's Japanese American, Chinese Americans, Korean Americans, right? Mm-hmm. You say German Americans, so on and so forth. African American means those who were taken from the continent, but they're not sure which country and which tribe. So they use the entire continent as a prefix to their nationality. That is why it is African American. They started first by being called colored people. Then it became Negro. Then it became Afro-Americans in the 60s and 70s. A name we so endeared in Africa, we love it. So they became no longer as Afro-Americans. Then it became Black Americans. In 1987, I think it was Jesse Jackson who launched this and said, no, we should not be called Black Americans, we should be called African Americans. So this is just not long ago, right? Mm-hmm. So when I see them calling him, no, Obama is not the first black president. He's not black. He's the first biracial president of the United States of America. America is yet. When Jesse Jackson was running, if he won, that would have been hugely historical.
Wow.
An African American, a product of a slave, has become president. If I become president, then they will say, for the first time, a black man has become president. Up until now, as of now, the first biracial president. The mother is a pure 100% white Kansas woman, Ann Durham. Now, 100 years from now, the white people in this country can write a history and say, in 2008, one of our sister's son became president, and they will be right, because Obama's mother was white. Mm-hmm. So they can claim that one of their sister's son became president. African Americans cannot write that one of our brother's son became president. No, Obama's father was not even a citizen. He just came here to study. And he loved making white people pregnant. I think he had 3 different all white women. So his children are all biracial. But like I said, these things started because of our obsession with white, right? So Amber Rose spoke at the RNC and simply introduced herself. Yes, if you look at her, no question at all. She's biracial. Joy Reid called her ridiculous and ambiguous race. Imagine, right? This is the woman who talked about racism, terms that he thought would call him. Why? What happened to the mother side? Tiger Woods was the first person who coined his own name, Cablinacia, Caucasian, Black, Asia. That's what he calls himself. The mother is from Taiwan. The father is a mixed race, biracial. Why would he say I'm black? What kind of history are we asking kids to write? So what happened to your mother? Or if in the case, your father? In Europe, they're called half-caste. That's a British term we use to call biracials, half-caste.
Right, and in Jamaica or the Caribbean, we call them Creole.
Yeah, no, they call you brownie right now. If you,
Browning, Creole, yeah.
In fact, if what is it? Mariah Carey should go to Jamaica. They don't call her brownie. They'll call her whitey.
You know, something interesting. I saw an interview with Mariah Carey where the interviewer asked her, you know, what's your race? And she said, in America, I'm considered black.
But
which implies
black Irish.
Exactly.
Yes.
Which implies anywhere outside of America.
Very good.
So it really got me curious as to, like you said, this obsession with white people. You would think it'd be the opposite.
You would think it would be the opposite. If these people did something so wrong, they bought slaves, they lynched, they killed, they raped, they did all these things, I would do everything to keep their blood out of anything that is coming to me. No. They rather made the rule. And they made the rule, like I said, I think it makes sense when people said it was made so that they can understand, in terms of divisions, where you live, zip code, and census, I may be wrong. Let nobody hang on to my words. Mm-hmm. I'm just discussing the social aspect. I'm throwing things I read about 20 years ago. Regardless, mm-hmm. If they made a rule because you're black and they don't want black, okay, they're right. They are right saying, even scientifically, if you take any paint and you drop, I saw a guy who was mixing paints in New York to do artwork.
Right.
The amount he drops before the paint change color is like tiny.
Yeah.
When you go to Home Depot, it's the same thing. They take a whole white gallon and then there's this trip. Then they spin it and you have a whole different color. Would you continue to call it the base color? No. Why is that different with human? Now, here is where it is tricky. Mm-hmm. So white people said, if one drop of black, consider it not white. Those who think it's because of racism, because they don't want black. All right. How about if they had said, if one drop of black into any black, that person is inferior, would we have accepted it?
No.
Oh, I see. Why not? Well, you accepted the first rule they made. That's a good point. You would accept the first rule. Exactly, but you don't accept the second rule.
Once you bring in the inferior, then it's no.
Yeah, why not?
It's very interesting. And then I also think a lot of biracial or mixed race individuals, they struggle with identity because they don't feel fully accepted on either sides.
But you see, in Africa, it's where biracial people really enjoy themselves. So between 1979 until, when did Clinton leave office? 2000, yes. Until 1979, until 2000, we had the first president of Ghana, clearly a half-caste. Even he refers to himself. His name is John Jerry Rawlings. The name alone should tell you that is not a Ghanaian name, right? The father was from Scotland, who came to Ghana as a pharmacist and had him with a Ghanaian woman, pure black Ghanaian woman. So John Jerry Rawlings joined the army, became an Air Force pilot, and then he made a coup against the government and became the first blazing revolutionaries in West Africa. Young, light-skinned, curly hair. Okay, so he ruled for a number of years and then became a civilian president. And Clinton went to visit him. And it's clearly, you see him, he's not Ghanaian, he says I'm half-caste. We refer to him as a half-caste. That's what we used to call him. We used to call him, before he became popular, when he was in the army. He used to drive his motorbike and we say, oh, the white boy is coming, the white boy is coming. Bluffo, 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 bluffo. That's what we call him. And he, endearingly, and he even accepts it. So in Africa, if you are half-caste, right now, if you go to Ghana, they won't call you black. No. Some in the villages will say, white. What they mean is not just skin color. They're talking about a whole lot, mannerisms and all that kind of thing. So half-caste in Africa, in any part of Africa, are not referred to as. Trevor Noah is not called black in South Africa. No, he's a half-caste. There's nothing slur about it. It's just a clear thing. It's nice. I mean, why? Why wouldn't they be allowed to refer to themselves as that third, sub group of people who happen to just hybrid, is called. In scientific, you can hybrid a tree, a plant, a fruit. Even animals have been bred, right? Yeah. Same with human beings. So it is not correct. America had a time when, yes, problems of ethnicity, people are coming from everywhere into this country. And those involuntarily, which is black people they brought here, and they realized that black people would cohabitate and maybe produce. What would you go to call the child? It's so bad that Meghan Markle even had a problem with this when she got married and got pregnant with the first child and said she heard rumor. They were asking, what would the color of the skin be? You would believe this is an innocent and truly an inquisitive question. As simple as that. If she is a half caste, which she is, she's biracial, she's not black at all.
Right.
And now you're marrying a pure white boy. Yes, everybody will say, what would you call the product of these two? There's nothing wrong. Should the British begin to say, oh no, he's black? I bet you Meghan won't like it. She would like for them to think he's white. She had a problem with this. It's foolish. And Oprah Winfrey have to make a face as if she was going to explode. We got to stop this, making people angry and not respecting people for what they call themselves. Mariah Carey is not black. She's not white. So also with many people.
So what do you think we can do as a society to slowly transition out of using the one-drop rule and creating a space where biracials and mixed race people can feel, okay, I have an identity now. Well, instead of clinging to a part of their heritage that would accept them. Which
if I interview Mariah Carey, I'm not going to ask any stupid question like this. I'm not blind. She's biracial. There's no point of even bringing it up. No, if I interview Obama, I'm not going to ask any question like that. Would I interview Obama's wife or Michelle and ask her, what are you? She can trace all. She will find some Greek in her. She will find some Irish in her. A lady that I worked with used to joke and say, come on, look at me and tell me where you think I come from in West Africa. And I said, I think you come from so-and-so place. Yes, go and do the swap. Years later, she met me somewhere in a stopping, and she jumped up and grabbed me and said, I did a swap. Guess what? You're right. But Frank, disappointingly, they said I have 35% Irish, and I have something percent Spanish, and I have this, and I have that. And I said, yes, you're a cocktail. I'm a boring pure vodka. So what are you then? What are you? He said, well, for the sake of just simplicity, I will continue to say I'm black. And I said, you're correct. That's it.
Yeah, because a lot of people will identify me as racially ambiguous / black.
Yes. And so if you know, like, okay, 35% Irish or 25% this and okay, but who are my parents? Oh, I saw two parents who are African Americans, they're both dark. Okay, I will just accept I'm black, right? That is a person's own conclusion.
And I do want to really talk about the difference in black people that are light skinned or have a lighter skin tone versus biracial.
Oh no, biracial you can tell.
You
can tell biracial.
It's a phenotype. It's the hair texture.
That's correct.
There's a lot of things because even for me, I've had so many encounters with white people who would look at me and say, what do you mix with? You don't fully look,
That's correct.
And I would say, little German there. And
yes.
they're like, yeah, that's why you're so beautiful.
If you come to West Africa, you might have a resemblance with a lot of people, okay? Maybe Yorubas or Igbos and this. But still, there are certain features right now that will stand out all the time. But taking your face as a whole, we will say, oh, she could fit into the Yorubas, okay? But as we look at you closely, no, there's certain features that are pronounced because of the mixture you have. And I'm saying, you ask a question, how do we move out of? No, we don't have to do anything to move out of it. I know it when I see people. I'm not going to call Obama a black man. No, I went to his village. I worked with his grandmother, so his father's side, right? And they're black, pure, simple, in Kenya, right. In Siaya, Kogelo, where he comes from. Then the mother side from Kansas. The brother his half-brother lives in China. The mother also is from Massachusetts, okay? And he's married with a Chinese. You think the Chinese are going to call his children Chinese? No. Let me explain something. The only place where you can be black, okay, like the Sudanese president, and say, they ask you, where are you from? Oh, I'm American. And nobody would turn around in surprise, it's only America.
Yeah.
If you're born in China, your parents are from Jamaica and you were born in China, you cannot go and you speak Chinese fluently, whatever it is. You can't go around saying, I'm Chinese. Everybody will turn around and look at you. Because saying I'm Chinese is not just skin color or looks.
Right.
It's culture.
Exactly.
It's a lot, you know. Japanese believe the same thing. You can't say I'm Japanese because I'm Japanese is not just simply looks. It's deeper than that. That's why you find black kids born in China, they speak fluent Chinese, but they never say I'm Chinese. You can have the resident permit, you can live there as long as you like, but you cannot say I'm Chinese. You cannot say I'm Indian either, being black.
Even furthermore, there's a lot of Asian people who might have certain phenotypes that is resemblance to Africans or black people. Same thing with hair textures, but they're still Asian. And this is what I try to get black people to understand is they'll say, oh, well, she has kinky hair. Perfect example, Cardi B. I think her mother is biracial and her father is a European man. And she claims to be black. And she does have kinky hair. I think she has like type 3 or type 4 hair, which is normal among black people, especially black Americans. But it's not just one characteristic.
Well, I'm going to make a joke, but it's not a joke as a matter of fact. Yeah, Cardi B wise enough to claim she's black because she finds it more comfortable with her whole mannerism and personality that if she's black, she'll fit in.
True. True.
So even if she has 90% Japanese in her, she better say I'm black.
Yeah.
You know? Because with her mannerisms and everything, she's not going to fit into Japanese, okay? They might use her for entertainment.
Yeah.
People will take pictures with her. She'll be gorgeous, you know, that's true. But no, she's not going to say I'm Japanese, you understand? So for some of those people who like to claim, I'm black, if you see a real biracial who is saying black and black, take a look closely. You will see that, yes, their personality, they find it more easy to say I'm black since we create safe space for anything in this world. We don't call out anybody for foolishness. Then they feel comfortable to be among us and be as foolish as they want to be. That's why they used to claim I'm black. Because, of course, you've lived. It's just the same way you say, why, one of my episodes I was saying, why do black middle to lower class people who live in urban cities all have to be Democrat? Because you were born around that for so long, you know, Boston, Baltimore, New Haven, Hartford, Connecticut. You go around, these are all liberal, right? So you were born, you went to school here, you stayed here, your friends are from here, your family, your church, everything. What are you going to be? Always 1 out of 10,000 will say, no, I'm conservative. Okay?
Yeah.
But they want to claim that their own understanding and mind told them to be Democrats. It's not honest. No. You were just formed because you've been around liberals and your television is always on Blink, CNN, MSNBC, that's it. So you will automatically form those opinions because that's all you've been listening to. Why do black kids are able to dance very quickly hip-hop? Because that is what is plenty in your environment. Now, if that environment also was prolific with classical music, they will pick it up easily.
I want to play a little bit of devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
Because I do feel as though some biracials, I can understand them identifying as black. Perfect example, J. Cole. You look at him and you see a black man. He's a little lighter on.
When you say you see a black man, it's like saying that I went to northern part of India and they have dark skin. That's therefore they're African.
I think
when we say Mariah Carey is not black, we're not talking about her skin color. And the person you mentioned,
J. Cole, I think he has kinky hair. He has black nose.
Their parents, what are they?
I know one of his parents is white. I don't remember. I think I think it's his mom. Okay.
So why are you saying he's black?
He looks, I didn't even know he was biracial until I Googled it.
We're not talking about their skin color. If that were the case, then the northern Pakistanis are all black. So when you say black, are you meaning?
His phenotype, his hair texture. This is what I think. I think if you have more than one identifiable characteristic that is similar to a racial group, then I think it's appropriate to identify as that. Like if you have 2 out of 3.
Well, I'm simply saying if I need at all to find out, I should just ask the person for the sake of interest. Hey, and I've asked plenty of people because America has just too many colors and mixtures. So there are people I've come in contact and I'm forced to ask them, by the way, yes, I know you're American. What is your mix? And they will tell me. Now, if you have to ask, if you don't have to ask, and you think this gentleman you mentioned, you want to accept him as black, then accept him. But don't plant it on him. And the day you say, by the way, you as a black man, and he goes, no, I'm not. I'm biracial. What are you going to tell him? Since you're playing me the devil's advocate.
That he looks like a black man, yeah.
You're going to tell him he looks like a black man.
Yeah.
What does a black man look like?
I think black people have very characteristic, distinguishable characteristics.
When you say black people.
Phenotypes.
Okay, when you say black people, are you talking about black people like Northern Indians who are dark skinned? Are they black?
No, I mean African people.
Oh, okay. So he has features that looks like African.
Yeah, like the phenotype, the hair texture. Because again,
so I'm asking you, I'm playing the devil's advocate. If you said to him, hey, you as a black guy, and he corrected you, no, I'm not black, I'm biracial, what would you tell him?
I don't think I would argue with him on that.
That's it.
But I know he identifies as a black man. So as someone who already knows that that's what he identifies as, if we have
fine.
That conversation, I can understand him choosing that identification. Someone like Zendaya or Mariah Carey is where I feel you're a little too racially ambiguous to then say, you know, I feel you need more than one. It can't just be skin tone or just hair texture or just phenotype.
I see what you're saying.
You have to have multiple to then say, okay, I'm black. Like for me.
Yes. Now, if you want to make a friendly argument with the gentleman and he says you identify him as biracial, and he said no, because you say you know the parents, you know, and it's clear in his biography that the one father is white, mother is, and you therefore want to be correct, and you said, you know, as a biracial, and he said no, I'm black, and you know very well that his parents are not, then the proper question to say, oh, interesting, why do you say you're black when you have, and let him tell you, because there was a rule made in 1612 that says if one drop off, let him tell you how he arrived at the conclusion that he's black. That would be an interesting thing to make a conversation. I will not tell the person you're not or you are, that kind of thing.
But here's the thing that makes it a little complicated, the one drop rule. It was a social norm. It's not based off of scientific facts at all.
Right.
So when we talk about it today, it's more of a social acceptance, right? As long as we share culture, as long as we share heritage.
Yeah, social acceptance also is a loaded one. I think we should make it comfortable. We should respect. Now, it's up to people with the biracial identity to stand up and start speaking and say, no, don't call me black. It's a disrespect to my mom or my dad. Why? If I have two people who equally came together to give birth to me, I should acknowledge both. I think it's proper. You're going to tell your children, hey, your father or your grandfather, right? Yes, it's this, and or no, your father is this, and I'm this, and we came together. You're going to say that. So why are you lying to the public? So people with biracial identity should be able to make it know that they are also another subgroup of people. That's what I think, and it is wrong for people like Joy Reid to vilify someone that clearly is biracial. It's wrong for anyone to push Mariah Carey to defend herself. It's just completely stupid. And of course, we found a lot of stupid things among us here. And we, the black people, do a lot of things that are really makes people shake their head. Umar Johnson, and what blows my mind, he can find a platform, black platforms, so he can spew garbage about this kind of behavior, where his own obsession about white women prevents him because he has said it so much that if he should pick one, he would lose his whole status because he's built his controversy around that. If truly Umar believes that black men marrying white women, it's detrimental to the black guy, he should have gone suffer, brother, suffer. But no, he's angry because they are doing something he cannot do. So I saw a show.
You think so?
Think so?
Or you know so?
Oh yeah, I know so. I'm a human profiler. Takes me very... check this out. I saw a show. The guy came with a white girlfriend or wife. He refused to shake her hands and asked them to sit away from him because the guy has, you haven't seen it?
I have not.
Okay. Now, so you did that on a show to show how much disdain you have for black people who go with white women. Yet, according to him, another show, he was at a mall and this white woman who has a little stall recognized him and asked for a selfie. And this Umar Johnson was smiling like
the selfie. I saw the selfie.
A southern, house worker who has found his master's wife for the first time. And I'm saying to myself, you refuse to shake hands with a guy dating a white woman. Mm-hmm. Yet at the mall, you accepted a selfie.
Yeah.
That clearly tells you this man
Secretly.
should be kicked out of, yes. He is not a good, somebody asked who are black heroes, and somebody actually mentioned him to be. And Thomas Sowell was so angry, Judge Brown was so angry, and I said, seriously? That's how low we have come.
But you've brought up a really interesting point, because I do notice in our community that when black men typically date out, and by black men I'm talking about more so entertainers, rappers, musicians, sportsmen.
That's not true.
That's
because those people are popular. That's why we tend to see their spouses. Ketanji Brown, Supreme Court judge, her husband is white, but she's not a celebrity.
Oh, no. I'm talking about people's reactions, because not everyone can see.
Yeah.
So when the celebrities, the black male celebrities date out, it's typically, I'm not going to say widely accepted, because a lot of black women do get upset and we see it online. Mm-hmm. But other black men are like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
But then when a black woman like Serena Williams or Lupita Nyong'o date white men, then they're crucified on both sides.
Very good observation. Very good observation.
It made me wonder, like,
why? It's the same thing I said about Umar Johnson. Mm-hmm. You see, Serena Williams married a white man, right? And the white women are not crucifying her because they also wish they could. But personality to get is not very easy. Okay, we're not particularly the easy type of people to get along with at all. We're not. So they see that and they would love to do that. So it's fine with the sister. On the other side, celebrities or football players and whatever who date white women, we look at them. The black woman get angry. Yes, she gets angry because that's the same thing I'm saying. I can't get him, I know, and now you got him. So Kevin Samuel became their prophet and invite them on his show and slash them and tell them why they will remain single and single mother and they won't get a husband and, six-figure or whatever. And he told them for over 2 or 3 years before he passed away himself dating a Spanish woman or something like that. So yes, it's the same thing. And Kevin, whom I didn't like at all, I detested him for what he did, taking... But I also detested the sisters who paid their money to go there and have themselves lambasted by this idiot. But what he was saying was right. The sisters like it, and the brothers like it also. But some of the brothers know it is too tedious for me to organize myself properly, so they will date a sister whom they can beat in an elevator and get away with it.
You mentioned something earlier that I feel a lot of black people do feel secretly. You talked about the beauty of white people.
No, not the beauty of white people, an obsession.
Of their beauty.
Not their beauty, a fixation on white. Mm-hmm. Whether it's beauty, whether it's color, I don't know. But Barbie did make her waves around the world, and the first black doll the German company tried failed miserably.
Yeah.
And it has also being tested where black doll and are given to black children and they'll pick it. So I'm not saying it is on the beauty. I'm just simply saying just a white race. It is a fixation. You can find it in India, in China, in Japan, everywhere, and blacks. And I don't see anything wrong with it. all of us are in love with yellow rose or red rose. No, nobody ever goes out there to pick black rose. And if you bring home black rose on Valentine for your girlfriend, she'll take the chocolate and slap your face.
It actually signifies witchcraft.
Exactly. So I don't know what it is, but I gotta be honest. It's just nothing to hide about it. Just come to Africa. Here in America, blacks tend to be ashamed that the people who once slaved them, they will not acknowledge what they feel about them. Don't be fooled, okay? But when you go to the Caribbean and you come to Africa and you see white people, and anybody watching the show out there can say, hey, because we are stupid. No, you're lying. It's not.
Yeah, in Jamaica, we have a saying, out of many people, one. The only thing that really exists in Jamaica, which I'm pretty sure exists everywhere, is colorism. But outside of that, they don't care if you're white, Chinese. Like, you're Jamaican, you're a Jamaican.
Yeah, but then even the light-skinned Jamaicans and the light-skinned Haitians and the light-skinned Zimbabweans find a level above everybody.
Yeah, it's a social high.
That's correct. Hala in Haiti, I used to joke, if they needed an assistant to the president, you don't need a resume if you are light-skinned with a little curly hair. That's it. You'll go through the door. And it's true in my own country and many places.
Oh, I'm sure.
Right? And in the Caribbean, it happens also. So is this only a white problem? No. In your family, because we are brainwashed. How has that ever happened? It's not true. One thing they cannot brainwash you about is color.
So you don't think that it's a brainwash, or as some people would say, an ignorance as to why black people feel the way they do about the biracials, the mixed race, the light skin, so much so that they want to accept them?
What nonsense is that? It's like insulting a whole race of people.
Because I think it's
So you want to tell me you can be brainwashed to say, no, sugar doesn't taste well?
I think it's a conditioning, like you grow up.
Who conditioned?
Your family, social media,
who conditioned
entertainment.
Them? Social media just came recently. This is been from the time of Egypt. Have you seen black people in the king's palace in Egypt? No, they are always outside of servants.
Wow.
Who brainwashed?
I think it's definitely coming from somewhere. Whether it was the generation before.
No, I'm telling you, has been there for 4,000 years, even in the palaces of Egypt and everywhere, my friend.
So you're saying it's nature? It's just always been...
Yes. Having scientists tested us, exposing us to colors and how the brain reacted. And black was not one of them that created euphoria. LSD, you see all colors but black. Thank you so much, Armani.
Thank you for having me. We're going to have to do a part 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, I always ask, please be friendly and subscribe to Zanu Project Rethink. My name is Franck Zanu, and this is yet another episode, digging into the social narratives and stories that sometimes we are too busy to examine. But when I'm lucky enough to have somebody like Armani, young, brilliant, and who is thoughtful and concerned about these things, yes, I do create the room so we can all just question the answers we've been given. And if we do so, we will reduce violence. See you at my next episode. Subscribe right now.